India is rapidly developing as a nation, the fastest growing major economy in the world. This isn't an easy feat to achieve. It's like a roaring flame. You need to feed it. Without fuel, you risk the fire dying out. As India keeps developing, it will keep needing fuel. It needs energy to keep the blaze going, and that is why Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman made a special note today.
Development of at least 100 gigawatt of nuclear energy by 2047 is essential for our energy transition efforts. For an active partnership with the private sector towards this goal, amendments to the Atomic Energy Act and the Civil Liability for Nuclear Damage Act will be taken up.
Let's unpack that for you. Nirmala Sitharaman wants to increase India's share of nuclear power to 100 gigawatts by the year 2047. She mentioned energy transition efforts. That means moving away from fossil fuels and towards cleaner energy. Now, nuclear energy is part of that mix. 100 gigawatts is an ambitious plan. Currently, it's at about 8.2 gigawatts. We want to take it up to 100. Currently, it makes up a measly 1.8% of India's power generation capacity. If India really wants to pivot to nuclear energy, a lot of work needs to be done. That is why the Finance Minister wants the private sector to step in. Currently, India's Atomic Energy Act does not allow for private participation. Even if it did, it isn't really an attractive business opportunity. Nuclear companies are liable for damages to the plants. They shoulder a massive risk if anything goes wrong, which is not necessarily a bad thing. It prevents companies from building shoddy nuclear plants. But the Indian law is considered prohibitively harsh, more so than in other countries. And that is why the government wants to amend it. It aims to make changes to the Atomic Energy Act and the Civil Liability Law. Once these amendments pass through Parliament, they will pave the way for the entry of private nuclear firms. It could allow foreign companies to finally bid for Indian nuclear contracts. Let's look at this in the current global context. There's a nuclear scramble underway, especially in Africa. The US, Russia, France, China, and South Korea are all bidding for contracts. Russia has a clear edge in Africa, but the other nations are keen to compete. Imagine if this bidding war comes to India. It could ensure that we get modern nuclear technology, that too at competitive prices. So the Indian government's move seems timely, to say the least. But it's not just about attracting foreign companies.
A nuclear energy mission for research and development of small modular reactors with an outlay of 20,000 crore will be set up. At least 5 indigenously developed small modular reactors will be operationalized by 2033.
India wants small modular reactors, or SMRs. The name is self-explanatory. These are smaller nuclear reactors. They generate up to 300 megawatts of power. Anything bigger becomes a conventional reactor. But SMRs have no bottom limit. You have tiny micro reactors as well, capable of generating as little as 10 megawatts. But India's 100 gigawatt target calls for the larger kind. And SMRs have been around for a while. The modular part in the name means that they can be factory made and then assembled on site. It speeds up the construction process significantly. So how fast can they be set up? At least one South Korean company says they can do it in 24 months. And this is a 180 megawatt reactor, not the micro kind. If these turnover times hold true, then India could soon be swimming in nuclear power plants in time for the 2047 target. But before that, India wants to develop this technology at home. Finance Minister Sitharaman said that she wants 5 indigenous reactors by 2033. In 8 years. It's a tall order, but possible with technology transfer and if we start immediately. Again, this means unleashing the private sector. The way forward is clear. A plan is in place. So let's hope India gives the green light soon. Our growth ambitions depend on it. We're calling the show Vantage. We hope you like what we've put together for you. Touted as the minimum two-ways defense from that video. India's neighbours were the first to send this special edition of Vantage live from the White House throughout this week. Yes, Hindu Mandir we're on our way to Tel Aviv. Measure, but it's also the perfect way to drive.
I don't think that
Prime Minister of Bhutan, Sherin Tagwe. Welcome to
60% of the world's
office. Prime Minister Modi did the iron.
We were actually
How are you doing? How do you like? It's been 1 year since that meeting. Iron bars separate you from the outside. Out the vote efforts. Trump had, it says, and at $4.3 trillion. 300 billion by 2030. That's what we need to tackle climate change.